Hi everyone, so today I'm going to make an Amber Romance type scented soap. Some of the reviews on it says it smells exactly as a dupe. Some people say it's not close at all, but the whole point is it's kind of an amber vanilla musk type scent. And I thought this would go real well with our fall line. And I'm going to be doing 4 different batches because I'm doing 4 different layers. And add in the coconut milk, and now my lye solution. I probably won't show this part each time, just the once. I forgot I wanted to go ahead and get my color in there, so I'm going to do 1 teaspoon of, say, Rainforest Mica, and 1 teaspoon of Brilliant Blue. Now I meant to do with this with the oils, but I'm hoping it'll still blend in. So I'm just going for a teal, but I'm not getting what I want here, so I'm going to add about 1/2 teaspoon more of the blue. So I'm going to ahead and add in the fragrance oil, and it's not really supposed to discolor, so hopefully. I want it to be thin enough that it will spread out, but not so thin that I have to wait a long time until I can pour the layer after it. I'm going to pour over here to the side, and I'm hoping that's still going to be somewhat in focus for you. It is still pretty thin. My pouring technique was a bit lame. I got pretty bubbly there. I have it somewhat level over here, that's why I don't want to move it. Here we go with the next layer. I'm going to add some titanium dioxide. So this time I'm going to start by adding in the color first so that it can get blended in nicely. Alright, so I switched over to the pitcher because I could not hold the bucket at the same time as this flooding spatula, and I thought this base was set up well enough, but it flowed out a little bit. It kind of broke up, the green did, and then it flowed out into it, so that's not exactly what I was going for, but it's what happened. I did not want to use this pitcher because I only have the one, and every time you transfer out oils, then you end up losing a little bit. So just something that I didn't want to do, but I really have to do it. So I'm going to pour it with my flooding spatula this time. Just makes the most sense in the long run. It keeps the pressure from the soap coming out from being directed into one spot. Just kind of floods it on. It's a while to do stuff like this when the batches are so big. So I thought I'd move the mold over for this last layer. So my inspiration for this soap was a wooden pumpkin design that someone on Instagram, the Little Green Bean, and she makes the most adorable little gnomes and wood designs and picture frame with, like, you know, wood cutouts. She does these most adorable little birdies. Anyway, she made a pumpkin, and it was a teal and white type chevron. I just thought it was the cutest thing and would actually be perfect for fall. And so I've had this soap planned out for a good long while, and just now getting to it. So I wanted something that was going to be kind of fall with some amber, but I also wanted something not traditional. And so I thought this is going to be perfect. I like to throw in the not traditional things every now and again. Because it's still pretty soft, or thin I should say. So I'm probably going to wait a few minutes because I want to be able to texture the top. So I'll just clean up and I'll come back to you. So I've made myself some lines. I marked the edges where my loaves are going to be, and then I just used my hanger tool to kind of put a little indent in. I gotta move this to where I can get to it. And it's getting pretty thick, but I just want to put in just a little bit of a swirly design. I probably should have put in some mica, but I don't have any mixed up, and this is getting thick, so I'm just gonna go with it, and we'll just have a kind of a plain. I still have a little bit more to come, but this kind of gives me an idea where to go, where to cross over. Now that I'm getting far away, I suppose I'm getting crooked. Hope not. I do slice off the very edges of the sides of this slab. Alright, that looks pretty good. Not even, but it'll work. So I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of salt with some copper and orange mica, just right down that middle. To just bring in some of that ambery essence. Okay, so here we have the Amber Romance type soap, and I will see you back here for the cut. I'm here to cut the Amber Romance type soap, and I have called this Sweet Amber. I just think it turned out super pretty. I love it. The white cream color has discolored just a little bit. It's a bit of more of an ivory now. I'm gonna try to just take, let's see, oh, this is a different loaf size. I was trying to make adjustments. All in all, it turned out pretty well. There aren't too many bars that actually were messed up where the one layer sunk down in that one portion. So I'm quite happy with it. Let me see how this is. I think I cut most of the others on their side. So see, if you cut down through stuff on the top of your soap, I can sometimes make that little groove and ridge because it grabs a little bit and pulls it down. So typically the solution for that is to turn it over onto its side. That way if it drags something, it's just right there and not coming down the bar of the soap. So I think I mentioned in my sweet pumpkin cutting video about the trip and how it was quite a wonky trip that we took to Colorado recently. And so I said I should continue my story just a little bit. So this soap was made pretty much right before we left. We were stressing out because we were trying to get a hold of the RV resort that we wanted to go stay at, and they weren't answering us, but that turned out great. We can't even highly recommend it enough. Tiger Run Resort in Breckenridge. If you've got a newer camper, they don't let older campers in there. But we have a fifth wheel that was old, or not old enough, new enough for them, so we were fine. It was the most beautiful beautiful resort, and the colors were amazing, and it was just so gorgeous. It was clean and it was quiet, and it was just a wonderful place. So we highly recommend that. Colorado, we were in the Breckenridge, Frisco, Silverthorne area, the ski resort area. We did go through Keystone. But we went there because of the RV resort specifically. And, oh, I tell you guys, this trip, first of all, I grew up in Montana, so I am still kind of afraid of passes and the steep drop-offs and not having guardrails. And so we were on I-70, beautiful drive outside of Denver. We were about to, we were like 20 minutes away, and there was an accident on I-70 right before the tunnel. And so they diverted everybody off onto Loveland Pass. I am slightly embarrassed, but not completely, to tell you that I was crying by the time we started coming off of that pass, because it had steep drop-offs, and we're pulling, you know, like 15,000 pounds behind our truck. And somebody's brakes were burning out. We were hoping it wasn't ours. Our turbo fan was like blowing on the truck because we're like climbing these hills, and it stressed me out. Anyway, so we got there. We've been went over Boreas Pass one day, and as we were coming down on the Pikes Peak side towards, I can't think of the town, Como, maybe? I will try to. Anyway, we're still pretty close to the top, but we'd gone over the Continental Divide, and we were coming back down. Of course, this was just when we had just the truck. So we had stopped for pictures on this little side place. And for the most part, I'm okay. I can get out and take pictures, and I'm cool when I'm just in my truck and not hauling a big old fifth wheel behind us. Anywho's it. So I'd gotten out to take pictures. I got back in, and we started to pull back out. There was a rock wall here, a one-lane road here, and steep drop off. You're gonna die if you go over this edge. And we start slowly pulling out and going around this corner, and a Jeep comes flying around the corner at us. He sees us, and you can see the terror in this man's eyes, and he slams on his brakes, and the Jeep skids. And I kid you not, I'm like picturing my death and my children's death and my husband's death as we're going over. If he hits us, we're just too close to the edge, which is boom. You know what I mean? It was just gonna be all done for. But he stopped before he hit us. Oh, I was scared to death. My husband's blood was boiling. You know, lucky we didn't come across that man again. Not that we would have done anything violent. It's just, you know, you don't do that and risk somebody's life because you're a moron. Anyway, it was just one of those trips. We had our black tank, ended up having a clog. That stressed us out for like a whole day. We had to go into Frisco and buy a bunch of stuff at Walmart. Back and forth. We actually dealt with that twice. So coming home, anyway, the trip itself, we were only in Breckenridge for 4 days. That's it, just 4 days. 2 of them were dealt with black tanks. One of them, I about lost my life, and there were other issues. Oh yeah, so I forgot a couple of things. Our refrigerator quit, and we lost all of the food that we had bought for the trip. And also I had elevation sickness, so I spent up at least 2 of the nights just sitting up, not feeling good. And the camper is small, so I just sat there in the dark, just little old me. Like, we wanted to go get donuts on a place in downtown Breckenridge and on Main Street. And we actually got parking, which was a miracle on Saturday morning. And then they didn't take credit card. We had no cash. We are not cash people. Anyway, we could have used the ATM, but that didn't work out at the time. So Anyway, there was that. We had already come from another place in Frisco that was supposed to be there, that wasn't where it was supposed to be. And so that was kind of frustrating, but not that big of a deal, you know, in the whole scheme of things. And then what else? So then we come down off of the mountain. It's icy. We're going through the tunnel and it's like, watch out for ice. And so that kind of freaked me out a little bit more. Again, hauling a big old camper behind us. And Denver was totally foggy. You couldn't hardly see ahead of you at all. We drove all day. We get to the KOA in Topeka where we're going to stay. And it's flooded out. It was horrible. We couldn't stay. Nobody would talk to us. Nobody answered their phone. We still haven't talked to these people. We've left them messages. No one will answer us. Nobody will call us back. No one will do anything. So anyway, so we pulled into Kansas City at Cabela's at 11 o'clock at night. And we had planned to kind of hang out in Kansas City the next day because that's where we used to live. Get some of our favorite foods, run to Costco because we don't have a Costco near us at all. Anywho, we get into the camper and it is drenched because we just came from, you know, ice in Colorado all the way across the cool Kansas, and then we get to Kansas City at 11 p.m. It's 75 degrees and our entire camper is just like drenched inside, like moisture just like flowing off the cabinets and just everything. We're like, welcome to Missouri. So since we didn't stay at the Topeka place at almost 9 o'clock at night, we drove all the way home and got home about 3 o'clock in the morning. It was just, you know, it was just one of those trips. We're still grateful that we got to go and see the beauty of Breckenridge and Colorado and just have a new experience. But we were worn out. That was a trip. I tell you what, that was a trip. But we're back home now and we're rocking and rolling. And we've got an autumn release coming up really soon in the last week of October. I think it'll be the last Monday in October is what I'm looking at. So I hope you liked my story. If not, I get personal on this channel sometimes. So anyway, here we have Sweet Amber soap. And the only amberish look is right up there on the top. But I just thought that was a fun design. And it's a great, warm, romantic type scent for this time of year. Alright guys, I'll see you for the next one.